boy, is there a lot to unpack, and this could not have suited this particular scenario any more beautifully than any other IndyCar race that's on the schedule, or any other IndyCar result that just happened at Texas Motor Speedway, no less. Before I go talk about Atlanta, IndyCar, all that, I first need to say big hell yeah to Ferrari on finally winning. Big congrats to Charles Leclerc for winning at Bahrain. First Ferrari victory since 2019 at Singapore. You definitely earned that one. It was a long time coming, and you finally broke through. Way to go. Ferrari is back. Ferrari is finally back in full force. Anyways, as I was going to say, how about that? Congratulations on Joseph Newgarden for winning that race. I was wondering if Scott McLaughlin was going to get 2 career race wins in a row after getting his first at St. Petersburg. But in a very spectacular, blazing fashion at Texas Motor Speedway that has been disgraced by a fussy traction compound. Well, not traction compound, but PJ1 that basically debilitated all the racing possible, including open wheel cars. But, this is a big but. Okay. Not what I meant. That finish was definitely the kind of finish you would expect out of, like, the top tier Texas Motor Speedway racing. It's a shame that this is probably the last IndyCar race at Texas Motor Speedway, because, of course, when it has some of the most exceptional racing under these aerodynamics that IndyCar has, it just goes away. Then again, I unfortunately can't say that I didn't see it coming, because, well, the way they fucked this track up, the way it completely hinders all the driving talent, the grooves that the drivers want to be in, I can't unfortunately say I wouldn't be surprised that it would be chalked off the schedule next year. But yeah, it was a pretty decent race. I know much of it was dominated by Scott McLaughlin, but that clutch move by Joseph Newgarden made that race pretty much meaningless, whether it was flawed or not. Well, not the race, but the race's flaws. Because, well, the high points are so high that the low points just didn't really mean too much for me to be angry about it. Because I guess the configuration with the track works with the downforce and aerodynamic techniques with the Indy cars in 2022, but with the Gen 6 car and S car, it's a recipe for disaster. I will give Texas Motor Speedway the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it'll mesh better with Gen 7 than Gen 6. Then again, I'm giving them way too much freedom, way too much benefit of the doubt, and way too much freebies. But here's the big meat of the matter of why I've got this t-shirt on. Jimmie Johnson, 6th place. 6th fucking place. Well, that prediction is completely out of one's paycheck, isn't it? No one saw that coming at all. Not by a single whole mile around the planet. Well, whole calculated miles around the planet. That is just... We were all hoping that Jimmie Johnson would get a top 15 in open wheel cars, but a top 10? That's setting the bar so extraordinarily high above what we diehard Jimmie fans that were keeping our expectations out of him so disciplined. And yeah, he pulls off a 6th place finish at Texas Motor Speedway in an open wheel car. a track that no less has been abused and rammed into the ground with terrible, unnecessary configurations. Then again, this is Texas Motor Speedway we're talking about, so I can't say that I am, at the very least, astounded that Jimmie Johnson would pull off a decent finish. 6th place in an open-wheel car at Texas Motor Speedway. The amount of times he's won at Texas Motor Speedway matches his amount of NASCAR Cup Series championships. How's that for a symbolic number statistic? Anyways, so yeah, to all those NASCAR sycophants, all those NASCAR apologists that were desperate to feel justified in feeling compromised with the atrocity of a low HP, to almost to the point where you would say stupid shit like,
"Oh, Kyle Larson's doing just fine under Cliff Daniels. Kyle Larson took over Jimmie Johnson's team and he won a championship in 2 races."
Well, since you have this compulsive need to try to exhaust every excuse under the sun, which makes you rather an obstinate freak that obviously is more enthralled by smearing Jimmie Johnson or clowning him just because of your undeniable jealousy, I will say this, since also that you tried to convince me that open wheel racing isn't Jimmie Johnson's style just as much as the low HP package in the NASCAR Cup Series from 2019 to 2020 isn't his style, I will say this, can you please explain to me his 6th place finish? There wasn't even no luck under that. Barely any luck. You can't even use the fuel mileage excuse either. Because even a lot of fuel mileage races, he was getting a lot of mediocre finishes, and now, here you go. 6th place finish. You can't even make up a bullshit stories to feel justified in smearing Jimmie Johnson at this point. You can't even use that washed up excuse anymore. Time to admit it. It's time to admit it, my dudes. Time to admit it, you dipshits. Because, well, he finished 6th in an open wheel car. Plain and simple. Concede. That's basically the only choice you've got right now, is to just simply concede that you were wrong. Both about the package and how it's supposedly commendable and doesn't supposedly debilitate NASCAR. And as well as about how supposedly Jimmie Johnson was washed up. There you go. This is absolute proof that he still has his racing mojo. Then again, to be fair, Texas Motor Speedway was already a track that he had more than perhaps 2 decades of experience on. And basically, his skills at Texas Motor Speedway seeped over to his open wheel career, or his open wheel oval racing mojo. I don't mean to narrate that as supposedly he'll go on the road of winning multiple IndyCar championships, but I'm just saying he still has that racing talent. He still has that mojo. He still has that fire. Face it, you lost this. And if the package in NASCAR from 2019 and 2020 wasn't so bad, then how come NASCAR had to double down on it with the exception of both the 2, presumed plate tracks and Atlanta? Can you explain that to me, how even NASCAR had to fall back on it? Can you explain to me how NASCAR had to backpedal even in 2021 when they add the high horsepower package at Darlington and Nashville? Yeah, that's what I thought. Nothing. Because you don't have any desperate excuses this time, because this is proof that Jimmie Johnson was never, ever washed up all this time. I clearly made countless videos of why Jimmie Johnson was never washed up to begin with, but that's only barely tip of the iceberg, and now Jimmie Johnson's 6th place finish at Texas Motor Speedway is the ultimate testament of both NASCAR's intermediate package being a complete and utter dumpster fire, almost to the point, well, not almost to the point, well, yeah, basically almost to the point, where the low HP was completely nuked off the face of NASCAR, and the fact that Jimmie Johnson still has his racing mojo. As already said ad nauseum, but I just can't stress that enough. What do you dipshits have to say now? Because it's a fact. Face it. Jimmie isn't washed up. Get the fuck over yourselves. You were wrong. Your only choice is to concede. I'm pretty sure the only desperate excuses I'll hear out of their mouths is supposedly made up bullshit stories, or the same old "here's a cheater" excuse, which they can't even use because Chad Knaus isn't even a part of IndyCar. Alright, now that I talked a lot about the IndyCar race, let's go talk about the big elephant in the room. That is the completely disgraced and massacred Atlanta Motor Speedway.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
Remember in my last race of the Golden Age for Atlanta that this is a testament to why a lot of legacy drivers like Jimmie Johnson, Carl Edwards, Tony Stewart, and Kenseth were leaving? Well, this is it. I don't know if you watched my short clip of Tony Stewart slightly somewhat predicting the ill-fated future of Atlanta, but he called it. Atlanta was going to be completely disgraced by SMI, and look at where the fuck we are. Pack racing wankery. I know a lot of people will try to be fooled into thinking that this is supposedly legitimate racing, or absolute, unfiltered, unadulterated, pure racing, but even when you're trying to even barely resemble the racing that is any exceptional pack racing at Daytona and Talladega, this basically falls so flat on its face it gives itself both the purple eyes and completely destroys their teeth, outright warps their forehead, because this is just embarrassing, ridiculous, and this is the kind of this is what we get. This is what we get. The previous low dumpster fire abomination of a race package completely disgraces intermediate racing, and then people blame the track, and then the track gets taken off the schedule, or at least narrowed down into a short track, or adds dirt on top of the surface. This is the state of the vast majority of the SMI tracks. You know how a lot of people, you dipshits, were saying that Jimmie Johnson was just washed up? I know I already touched base on this, but you know how in my Atlanta video I said that you guys were absolutely wrong, that Jimmie Johnson was just supposedly a has-been? Well, here you go. I was absolutely right, and you no longer have any more excuses. Jimmie Johnson finished 6th at Texas Motor Speedway that has been poorly mistreated with unnecessary reconfigurations. And here you go, with Atlanta, suffering the same fucking fate. I guarantee you, if IndyCar raced at Atlanta with the aerodynamics and downforce that they were operating on at Texas Motor Speedway, he would finish probably top 5, or at the very least 13th place. Shut up and admit the faults of NASCAR already, because you sure as hell aren't doing yourself any favors being a complete and utter sycophant of a has-been package that's only being well, intermediate-wise, it's only being exclusively used at a disgraced Atlanta Motor Speedway, which was a beloved, loved, exceptional intermediate track until it got completely smeared with so much super speedway restrictor plat wankery filth. Because pack racing, excessive big ones, equates good racing, huh? A lot of fans just love a good Michael Bay action racing film, huh? Am I right, my dudes? Am I right? Let me explain in 3 video clips across from the Gen 4 era, the Gen 5 era, and the Gen 6 era of why we never needed this set package or this reconfiguration in the first place.
Man! Wow! Wow! How good is this?
That is cool.
I don't even know what to say. I'm just holding my breath.
Look at Mark Martin down on the bottom, right behind Jeff Burton. Oh, Burton gets a little bit loose. Slides up the racetrack.
Yikes!
Yeah, Burton got big time loose. Getting off.
Don't like the way that looks. Yeah, you sure pointed that out, and if I've watched him a little bit more, you could see that happening. You can see right there the back end kick, even though he was able to hold Jimmie Johnson off right now.
All he can do here is try to take away Jimmie's line that he wants to run and try to keep him in dirty air. 10 laps, that's a long time to do that. And
oh, gosh, it seems like forever as you're trying to find a loose race car in particular at this track.
So after dominating a lot of the afternoon, falling back, coming back to the front.
Harvick trying to get a big run, just trying to move around on the track. Yeah, he'd love to find a little bit of grip, but he's looking for just some air to get to the nose of that car and to the entire car, really, so he can make a big run. I believe he's got that run going right now off turn 4.
I think Kenseth believed it too.
So Kevin,
After seeing those 3 clips, do you still think it's necessary for SMI to try to become a Daytona or Talladega wannabe? Especially when we already have racing of high quality such as those 3. There's definitely more clips I would have used, but those are just the gist of how awesome Atlanta was those 3 previous generations. There's no need for this at all, unless if SMI is just trying to hide some diabolical evil plan to just nuke off every beloved racetrack of theirs off the face of the NASCAR world. It's not going to surprise me if they take off at least one Atlanta race or just reduce an Atlanta race into some sort of Bud shootout or all-star race with no points races given to it. So, I would like to hear some of your goalpost shifts, you sycophants. So, can you come at me with some cringy stuff? Because I could use some material for future stupid comments video, as I'm already gaining some material in my hard drive from a lot of stupid comments, not specifically NASCAR, but I could use some of your desperate justifications for what an sorry excuse of a configuration Atlanta Motor Speedway was beyond disgraced with. I could really use some of that for more future material on my channel. But yeah, nevertheless, I'm still very fucking happy that William Byron got his magic 3rd career win. Fuck Liberty University. Fuck Liberty University, because that pile of dog shit school can kiss my ass, suck my shit, and get that shit out of here. Definitely feel for Bubba, because he was having a good run all day up in the podium position up until that last lap, but it's always expected when you got finishes like that in pack racing. And of course, for Ryan Blaney, he had a good run all day as well, and only for that to wind up into a 17th place finish. Rough day. Well, not rough day, but more like a stressful day because, well, I was always on the edge for Chase Elliott, hoping that he wouldn't crash again. Same with Alex Bowman, because it was always uncertain whether or not he would save the car or just find himself in a very race-threatening crash. Fortunately, Kyle Larson was not one of those survivors because, well, he became another culprit of a good day Hendrick killer. I think you guys can figure out who he is. How's it going, Denny? You enjoying ruining good days of Hendrick drivers? It's what you're best at anyway. It's what you've been best at throughout almost your entire career. But I digress. So yeah, good days for Hendrick Motorsports. 10th place for Bowman, 6th for Chase, and of course, the big win for William Byron. Congratulations, William Byron. Hell fucking yeah. Also, very peculiar fact. This is the second year in a row where Chase Elliott's 3 teammates all won a race before Chase Elliott. Let's see. Last year, William Byron wins at Homestead. Then it was Kyle Larson at Las Vegas. And then you got Alex Bowman at both Richmond, then Dover, the famous 1-2-3-4 finish, which I was at. And then, wouldn't you know, it wasn't until May at COTA Chase Elliott would get his first win of 2021 of last year. Now, here we go again. Kyle Larson wins at Auto Club. Alex Bowman wins at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Now here we go with William Byron winning at Atlanta, and now COTA's next. Does that mean Chase Elliott's going to win at COTA? We're all going to have to wait and see. Because, well, a lot of these superstitions are really seeming to add up. Because you know how I always say there's going to be a winless season for ex-Hendrick driver, then suddenly they win at the 3rd race of the season, whether it be William Byron last year, Bowman this year? Well, it looks like this superstition is also adding up. Don't be surprised if Chase Elliott garners another victory at COTA, thus tying Tony Stewart for road course victories. The race at COTA will definitely be refreshing after an absolute abomination that we all just witnessed at Atlanta Motor Speedway, but nevertheless, this was a great weekend. William Byron wins. I met Ross Dillon on a Friday night when I saw the badass death metal band from the 90s live at Worcester Palladium. This is just an awesome weekend. I don't know to what extent my glory will be this year, but I sure as hell ain't stopping. And I sure as hell hope Hendrick does not slow down. I sure as hell hope Hendrick does not falter, because the 3-peat is a must. Whether it be with one of the same 2 drivers or the 2 drivers that have yet to get a ring, because this is shaping up to be another great year for Hendrick Motorsports. And honestly, with the exception of this absolutely terrible Daytona and Talladega wannabe race, I have to say that this is a great season so far. A bit better than 2021, if I do say so myself. So yeah, let's see what the future may hold for COTA. I don't think it would be like super epic beyond stunning to watch. I don't think there will be big time epic battles at every corner, every sector, every straightaway. that race will have to offer, but I am nevertheless excited to see what someone's true talents will be. What their true talents will be on a technical track like COTA. I certainly am also, as a side note, enjoying every last bit of misery Kyle Busch is being bestowed on, because any kind of mishap he has makes me happy. His dismal crumble to his own footprint is beautiful and scenic to see. I love every minute of your downfall, Kyle Busch. It is absolutely gorgeous and picturesque to see. Your empire is no more. You are falling under the power of Hendrick Motorsports. Your dynasty is no more. It's fading into dust and ashes. You are slowly becoming a has-been, and it's making us grin. No one's scared of a crybaby Leech King like you, you little pansy. Get you and your whiny ass out of here. You are no more. Go Hendrick Motorsports, the true all-time NASCAR GOATs.